Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. This is episode number 54, where today we are going to go ahead and talk about The Last of Us Part 3. May have a plot, but it's not being made, well, not just yet. Apparently, the PS5 is the most popular console to develop for, and we're going to go ahead and talk about one of our favorite franchises and why we believe that it's pretty much dead and that we may not see this franchise get another sequel or remake or anything else. But we will talk about that in our PlayStation conversation. So, with all that being said, I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here, I got my other co-host.
You got Spectre.
Yo, what up, my man?
Hey.
Yo, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm doing okay, yeah. Why don't you back off on that for a second?
Whatever.
But yeah, no, just, I guess to give an update, yeah, not a whole lot really going on. I'm getting started with Nier. I haven't really touched it just yet, but I have it all installed. I'm going to be going for that pretty quickly here. I wanted to finish up Republic Commando, which I did. I got the platinum on that, took care of that. Took a short break. You know, you have to have that post-game break, you know, at least for any game that lasts longer than, you know, just a few hours or whatever. But, I mean, you got to have that post-game break. So I did a little bit of World of Warships and Hearthstone and stuff, you know, my go-to multiplayer games. So I took a little break for that, and then now I'm ready to dive into Nier. So I will be doing that this weekend, and I will be reviewing Nier. So
awesome.
And I will be actually capturing my own gameplay for the first time. So,
that's gonna be fun.
That's exciting too, for the power of the PlayStation 5. So.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. What I know that you have been excited for Nier Replicant. What are you excited for Nier Replicant? Is it because it's a sequel of Automata, or?
Yeah, well, it's a prequel to Automata.
Oh, it's a prequel. Okay.
Yeah, it's a prequel. I would call myself. I mean, there's very casual Nier fans, and there's very there's very like hardcore, like crazy Nier fans that played the games and know them really well, buy all the extra material, buy the crazy $3,000 statue that they had actually up before that. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did not. But
it's pretty amazing looking. But I could never see myself spending that amount. That would be like the only thing I would spend that for would be like if there was some sort of like it'd have to be for like my favorite game. It'd have to be like a Silent Hill statue or something crazy like that. That's the only way you'd get me to spend $3,000 on a statue for a video game. But so I would say I'm sort of like towards the casual end of Nier. Like I got into Nier because of Automata. I skipped out on Nier on the PlayStation 3/360 era. So in a way, I'm kind of glad I skipped out on, because now I get to play basically the upgraded version of that game, which is what Nier Replicant is. So Automata really surprised me. Just a very fun game. I don't have the platinum for you. I still got to go back and get the platinum on it, but played through it, had a blast with it. It's a very interesting, strange story. Kind of this bizarre sci-fi, kind of anime-esque story, but it's very memorable. It's got a lot of fun gameplay to it, a lot of varied gameplay. It tends to play around with genres a lot, and that's sort of a hallmark of this series, really, because really Nier is more than just Nier Automata and Nier Replicant. It goes back to, it's actually a sort of a spin-off series from Drakengard, which is from the PlayStation 2 era. I believe there was there was 2 of those games on the PlayStation 2. Then there was actually Drakengard 3 on PS3. So that's as much as I know about it. But I'm not a fan of those. Like I haven't played those games, so I don't know if those are good or not. But I know they're pretty. They had a following to them, which ultimately led to Nier and yeah, so I'm kind of a casual fan of them in a way. Obviously, I'm not like super into them, but they are entertaining games. Automata really surprised me, and I really enjoy it. So I imagine I will enjoy Replicant, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just a side note, while you were discussing that, I pulled up the statue. It's from Prime 1. I think this is the one you're talking about, but it's from Prime 1. It's Near Automata, 1/4 scale. It's like $3,399. Like it's $3,400.
One more time here. It is extremely impressive. It's probably the most impressive video game statue I've ever seen.
Like it's well, the one I have here, I believe it's with the three. It has, I believe it's with well, what is it? It's 1/4 scale of Yora #2 Type B. There's that one, and then
It's it's the name of the characters. It's 2B.
okay.
Then I think it has three characters.
Yeah, it's three characters on it. Yeah,
too. It has 2B, 9S, and A2, I believe, are all on the statue.
Yep.
I think there's like interchangeable stuff with it too, like swappable parts. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
looks just like a gorgeous statue.
It looks nice. It looks really nice.
It's in that quarter scale, which is. I really think that's. I know it's sometimes the quarter scale, like not to get off a thing about statues.
You're fine.
The quarter scale, I think, is really just one of the most impressive looking because it's big. It has a presence to it. I have a quarter scale statue, and you've seen it before at my place. I have Kratos.
Oh yeah, the one that for God of War 3.
It's technically from God of War Ascension.
That was it. That was it. Yeah, it's God of War Ascension when they were celebrating
it. He doesn't have his scar in that statue, so it's pre-scar, which happened in God of War 2. But yeah, it's a really impressive scale. I mean, I'm looking at the statue right now. It's huge. Yeah, I like the quarter scale. It's not very practical all the time because it takes up a lot of space. But it's imposing and it has a presence to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I saw that thing. I remember when it got announced back. I believe that was in 2012, 2013. I mean, it was like just before. Well, no, I believe it was 2012 because it was the year before the PS4, I think. But yeah, with Ascension, like I remember PlayStation showing off, like here's the statue, and it's from PlayStation Studios. Like they contracted someone out. I can't remember the statue company that made it, but it's a licensed brand, like PlayStation stamp statue. Like I got one from level 52 of Days Gone and God of War 2018, which are gorgeous. Oh, and even the Shadow Colossus one. Also, this one right here. That one also, which is nice. I love it. I love these statues. But yeah, we got on a little tirade, but that's totally fine. We love statues, hence.
But yeah, but point being, like I said, I'm a fan of it. It's a very well done, entertaining game, and it has a following to it. People love it, So I'm looking forward to playing it here.
Nice, awesome. So yeah, we're going to be seeing Spectre's review of Near Replicant coming up. Speaking of reviews, what I've been playing, or at least I started playing, is Returnal. I've only played a little bit of it because it just came out.
You already want to Returnal it?
No, I do not. You can go ahead and shut up, Spectre. No, actually, I'm enjoying it. I've only played a little bit of it. I'll be spending a lot more time with it because I'll be reviewing Returnal. But it is really fast. I like the combat of it, and it is difficult. This is not an easy game. It is definitely it's a lot of trial and error kind of stuff. But
how do you feel about that? You're not. I mean, I'm not, and I'm not saying this is like a dig or anything.
No, you're fine.
I don't. I mean, there's a lot of like super challenging games I don't play, but I mean, I don't really know you for playing like kind of Dark Souls level games. I mean, like what's your opinion of?
Like, I think it depends on the combat with it. For instance, I remember when I was going for the going for the gold trophy for Star Wars Jedi Academy, you have to play it on the hardest difficulty, and there is no way to cheese the game. There, like for instance, in Jedi Outcast, there is a glitch that is completely usable. They didn't because it's just a port. It's not a. They have fixed a few things, but really, it's still the thing. So there are cheat codes that you can use. In Jedi Outcast, you can actually glitch through, so you can actually send Kyle all the way pretty much to the last part of the game. And then what you do, there's pretty much what you do is you put in the glitch, you put in the go through walls glitch or whatever. You can pretty much skip. You can
do that on Academy then.
No, you can't do that on Academy. So in Academy, you actually, as Jaden, you have to go through all of it, and I spent weeks just going through that, and some levels would be really easy, some levels would be ungodly hard, and I'm like, ugh. And with games that have even in God of War 2018, fighting the Valkyrie, the Queen of the Valkyries, the final one in order to get that trophy. I think that was my last trophy I had to get in order for me to platinum it. That's a hard fight.
Yeah, that's a tough fight. Yeah.
For me, I had to go ahead and cheese it with the quote unquote Infinity Gauntlet with your gauntlets or your mods or whatever you have. There's a lot of cheesing you have to do in order to even be able to fight against the Queen of the Valkyries. So I've played harder stuff before. I guess for me,
has Returnal. Has it frustrated you, I guess, yet, or is it the type of difficulty where you want to keep coming back to it?
I haven't played enough of it in order for me. As I said, I've only maybe spent a few hours of it, if that.
Okay.
Because
so you still need to kind of.
Yeah, because again, we record this on Saturdays, and it came out yesterday on Friday, which would be April 30th. So I haven't spent a lot of time with the game yet, but I will be spending a lot of time in the tomorrow and the next coming days and week or so, and I'll be reviewing that game. So, and then what we have this coming week on, I believe it's May 7th, is Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8 Village. So, and we'll be getting a review of that too, if I'm correct.
We also have Mass Effect coming up too.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of games coming out, and we're going to be covering all of these games that are going to be coming out. And so stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. YouTube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. You can go ahead and press the subscribe button, press the bell icon, like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, we're going to be getting a lot of stuff coming up, and we only have this month, and then it's E3. Which we'll be talking about that in a little bit. So should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's begin with what we always begin with. News of the Nation! Yeah, alright, let's begin. So, first topic, we're going to go ahead and talk about, it's a new month. We're in a new month, and with a new month comes new PlayStation Plus games. So for the month of May, this is from the PlayStation blog. What I have here is that the next 3 games that we're going to be getting from PlayStation Plus. So we're going to be getting Wreckfest on the PS5, and for the PS4, we're going to be getting Battlefield 5 and Stranded Deep. Would you like me to do a little rundown of the games?
Sure, yeah. One of them, of course, I have a lot to say about. The other two, not so much.
Of course.
I appreciate your rundown because it would let me kind of give me some information about the other two.
Sure. So, Wreckfest, Drive Hard, Die Fast. Actually, that's the full name of it. But Wreckfest, Drive Hard, Die Last will be on the PS5. This is your free game on the PS5. This is the synopsis from the PlayStation blog. Burn rubber, break rules, and shred metal in this full contact racer from the creator of Flat Out. Race and upgrade patch together cars, improving their looks and toughening up their body armor to survive the epic crashes and neck-to-neck fights over the finish line in competitive races. Enjoy some hilarity in challenge modes as you get behind the wheel of crop harvesters, three-wheelers, and much more. Then challenge your friends online in multiplayer for up to 24 players. The Battlefield 5, I think we all know this, but I'll go over it anyway. Enter mankind's greatest conflict with Battlefield 5 as the series goes back to its roots in a never-before-seen portrayal of World War II. Experience an all-out multiplayer with your squad in the vast grand operations and the cooperative combined arms, or take on single-player war stories as you fight in epic, unexpected locations across the globe. Enjoy the richest, most immersive Battlefield yet. And for Stranded Deep, this is also coming to the PS4. Test your survival skills in this open-world adventure in the aftermath of a mysterious plane crash. You are stranded in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Alone, without any means to call for help, you must do what you can to survive. Explore underwater and on land as you hunt for supplies to craft the tools, weapons, and shelter you'll need to stay alive. Stay sharp. Hunger, thirst, and exposure conspire against you as you brave the treacherous elements and the dangerous creatures of the Pacific. All of these games, so Stranded Deep, Battlefield 5, and Wreckfest will be available for PlayStation Plus until Monday, May 31st. Also, with April, so again, it's always the first Tuesday of every month. So if you haven't already, go ahead and add these to your library. But on Monday, May 3rd will be the last time you can go ahead and add Oddworld Soulstorm, Days Gone, and Zombie Army 4, which was the games for April. And as always, we've said this before in other episodes, add these to your library. These are games that you get for free as long as you have Plus, and you can just add them to your library. It doesn't take up space, and if you want to go ahead and play them, you can just download them to your system. Go from there. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely for of course, always add them to your library. I mean, even if you never intend to play them, it's just it's free games. That's the reason I think I'm up to like almost 500 games on my account now total between everything. I mean, it's a crazy amount of games, and a lot of that is from Plus.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, really, the one that the most infamous one on this is, of course, Battlefield 5.
Yes.
I had a lot to say about this game back when it came out. It was definitely a controversial game. It was a game that sparked a lot of a big backlash, I would say, against EA and this series. And it's in a lot of ways it's very unfortunate, because I am a big Battlefield fan. By my default is to be a big fan of this series. I really enjoy Battlefield. I've enjoyed it for many, many years. And it really the last game really rubbed me the wrong way for a lot of reasons. So I'm not gonna dive into that here. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do recall at the time I made sort of a pact of sort that I would not purchase the game. I was going to boycott the game, and I have stayed true to that word. I have not purchased the game. It's been on deep sales many times. I've seen it like pop up on the list of under $20 games and stuff, but I have not purchased the game. And I guess I will own the game technically now. Because it's through Plus, but still, it's I just I don't know. I don't know if I want to play it or give it another try or anything like that, or I should give it a first try, I should say. But yeah, it's definitely a game of reputation. And
I mean, it is a free game as long as you have Plus. I mean, you add it to your library, and I have a feeling you may like it because it still keeps.
Yeah, no matter what your opinion, I'm not gonna not add it to my library and protest. I mean, it's a free game; I may as well take it. But in terms of if I'm gonna play it, I don't know. And really, that's a topic for the future too. About if I'm gonna be actually going for Battlefield 6 when that comes out. So
yeah, so like I was gonna bring.
That's still to be determined. I really don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that there's rumors of we're gonna hear about a Battlefield 6 or whatever the next Battlefield game is going to be. So that'll be good. Before we move on, what do you think of Wreckfest and Stranded Deep?
I don't really have anything to say about those. I mean, I don't really know much about them. I think what I'll do is, I'll add them to the library and then maybe I'll check out like a trailer for them.
Yeah.
But they're not really the type of game that like, draw me in right away.
Well,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
What I've come like with these free games for Plus every month, pretty much what I see is that one is the headliner, and then the other two are like other ones. So like, also just note. So the games, Wreckfest will only be free for PS5, not for PS4, and it's the reverse. So like the ones that you have, I believe the for PS4, those two games, those are just backwards compatible.
But of course, pro tip, everybody that we can't assume everybody has a PlayStation 5. So if you don't have a PlayStation 5,
add it.
You can still add it through. I recommend through the app is the best way to do it.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you may as well. I did that before I had a PlayStation 5. It's just you may as well do that, and it's free games. That way, when you do get a PS5,
you have a library.
You have a library waiting for you.
Exactly.
So it's like you may as well. So
yeah, Wreckfest is Destruction Derby, not like Twisted Metal, but like it's built to be like crashing into other cars, and you're using like other stuff outside of like normal like Gran Turismo cars, like it's just that kind of thing. And Stranded Deep seems like a survival game. Yeah. And then Battlefield 5, like again, army shooters aren't really my thing, but I know of your dislikement of Battlefield 5, and also
liking of them. Yeah.
Yes. Along with other people who have talked about Battlefield 5 and all the stuff that we've talked about in other episodes of Dualshock'd, which you can go find them. We've talked about it before, but let's move on. Next topic is that Resident Evil Village is getting a final. Resident Evil Village's final demo has been extended, and the RE-verse, which is the multiplayer, has been delayed. So, some pros and cons. So, from Twitter, from Resident Evil themselves, it says, "We've heard your feedback and are extending the availability period for the final 60-minute multi-platform demo. The original 24-hour starting at 5 p.m. Pacific May 1st or 1 a.m. BST for May 2nd, which is like overseas in the UK, has been increased by a week and now ends at the same times on Monday, May 9th Pacific time and May 10th BST, which is overseas." So in the Resident Evil showcase, which I have my reactions of it, which you can go ahead and watch, they went ahead and said that PlayStation got two like half-hour demos, and it was only on a Saturday for 8 hours. And what happened is that even for myself, I wasn't able to play the demo because I've been so busy with other work, and I wasn't able to kind of be able to get into that like 8-hour time gap in order to play and play the demo of the castle and the village. And that was a big problem because some people, like, of course, other people do work. Other people have worked third shifts, so like they're sleeping during the day, and so they're missing that piece of time. There's a bunch of reasons. Like, I don't like that. I think that was bad. That was a poor decision for Capcom to be like 8 hours. You can only play this for 8 hours. So I'm very happy that they are going. You get a whole week so anyone who wants to play the demo, it's still an hour of gameplay. You get to play the demo for 1 hour, 60 minutes, but the ability to play that 1 hour of gameplay, you have a week to do it. And it's actually after the game comes out, because it comes out on the 7th, so from there. So that's actually really good too. So you can even test it out like when the game comes out and all that kind of good stuff. So we have that, and then that the RE-verse has been delayed. So coming from IGN, There was an update on the REverse website that explains, quote, REverse will launch summer 2021, end quote. Had things stayed on schedule, it would have been available from May 7th, which would be the same day as Resident Evil, but now it's been pushed back to the summer, so that could be June, July, August, whatever. The REverse is a 6v6 or a 6-player PvP mode where you play as different characters from Resident Evil's universe. So you can play villains, you can play good guys, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I couldn't care less about about Resident Evil. I really can't. I mean, I mean the only thing that's even remotely interesting about this game has been the what's it called, the sexually charged like witch women.
Lady Dimitrescu. Lady Dimitrescu is the the
whatever. Yeah.
So vampire lady.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I couldn't care less. I mean, these games are, Resident Evil's had, I mean, we're up to like what 20, 30 games now. It's had plenty of chances to impress me. It never really has. I enjoyed Resident Evil 4. If they do a remake of that, which I'm sure they will, I would probably check that out. I actually really enjoyed the remake of the original Resident Evil on GameCube. That was pretty good too. I mean, once you make like 20, 30 games, you're bound to have a couple of good ones. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just not. It's not my style of horror. I don't like action, horror, hybrid games. It's just not in general. I mean, Dead Space was kind of like that too, and I do enjoy Dead Space. But Dead Space felt it had just atmospherically it worked a little bit better, I think.
Not even not none of them. Like, have you even tried Resident Evil? Like even 2. Like 2 is really good.
I don't play. No, I don't play any. I didn't play any of the modern ones. I've played the old ones.
Resident Evil 2 is a PS1 game. I'm talking about Resident Evil 2.
Oh yeah, well I played that. Yeah, I like. It's not my kind of style of game.
Okay,
because
because Resident Evil 7. I haven't played it myself, but Resident Evil 7 is it's more atmospheric, and it's more based upon the bosses. So it's more based around the family. The family are the bad guys. It's not just random zombies and stuff.
I don't like. I don't know. I like more of a kind of more of a crazy supernatural horror. Like in general, that's the kind of horror I enjoy. Like I don't like Hills Have Eyes type of stuff. That's not really my thing, which is kind of what the vibe I got from it. I like your supernatural horrors, like my favorite, or like your sci-fi horror that is like, very bizarre and grotesque. Like, I like from a film perspective, I like things like The Omen. I like, The Thing. Event Horizon's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Where it's like a sci-fi / supernatural horror. I like that kind of more outlandish stuff. Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's more my style.
Okay. I mean, do you think that? Well, I know you don't care about Resident Evil, but do you think that it's great that the demo has gone from 24 hours to be extended to 1 week?
No, I think it's a moral outrage. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Thanks, Victor.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah. That's of course it's a good thing. Yes.
Okay. Sweet. All right, awesome. I think let's just move on, because if we talk about Resident Evil anymore, Spectre will just get tired, and who knows what happens. He'll probably just leave. Let's move on. Next topic is that there will be an iOS update that will be adding the DualSense and Series X controller support. Again, this comes from IGN. iOS update 14.5 has added native support for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S controllers to the iPhone and iPad. Available today, which would be April 27th, which is when the article went live. The update 14.5 is a major addition to the iOS, adding app tracking transparency, which means apps now need express permission to track user data, a workaround for those wearing face masks while unlocking their phone, new voices for Siri, and more. Pretty much this feature has been highly anticipated for some time, with users previously forced to find workarounds or use the DualShock 4 while streaming from the PS5 and apps like the PS Remote Play app, in absence of proper DualSense support. Players will also be able to use the DualSense and series controllers with a compatible Apple TV if they own one. So they'll be able to play Apple Arcade on the big screen with the next-gen controller. And you can install it through the App Store, so on and so on. So, yeah. So Apple is now just going, hey, you can use a DualSense with our stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you would ever use an Apple product, but I mean, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes before of my purchases, so I understand.
Wow. I mean, I do agree. Like, I'm not an Apple guy. Like, I'm not a fan of Apple outside of, like, maybe Macs because of Final Cut, because Final Cut is really good. But I'd rather use a PC and an Android and stuff. But that's my own personal opinion. I understand there's a lot of people who love Apple products. So for you guys who do, hey, you can use a DualSense on it now. So like you can just like go buy a DualSense. You don't even need a PS5. You can just buy a spare DualSense controller and play it on your iOS stuff. You can play games and all that kind of good stuff, which is great. Use a DualSense to play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic because it's a mobile app and it's great. I talked about it on the last episode and it's amazing. Love Coder. Anyway, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. Next topic is that the PS5 has outsold the PS4 in its first fiscal year. This article also comes from IGN. Woo! My whole screen went wonky. All the words are like not. It's all like jumbled up. I can't like see everything. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. All right, my computer was being a bit weird. All right, so this article comes from IGN. The PS5 has outsold the PS4 in its first fiscal year on sale. The revealed in Sony's full year earnings today, which is April 28th. The number that they have sold is they have sold 7.8 million units of the PS5 within its first fiscal year on sale, ending in March 31st of 2021, which outstrips the PS4's same period from 7.6. So it's 0.2 million different units differences or difference. There we go. I'm good with this. In the earnings release, the number that means that Sony has managed to hit its target of outselling the PS4 at launch, despite the global pandemic and the current semiconductor shortage slowing production. And that's why the PS5s, outside of I believe scalping and other things, also is why it's really hard for PS5s to just be out in the wild. This is a major success and contributes to Sony's game and network services division having its biggest ever year, bringing in approximately $25 billion with a B in revenue. As an analyst, Daniel Ahmad points out that hardware sales made up 20% of that revenue, while digital software reached 21%, and add-on content, which includes microtransactions and DLC, has made up a huge 34% of revenue, presumably due to the increased popularity of free-to-play games. As you might expect, physical games were a less successful story in the last fiscal year, only accounting for 5% of the revenue, even beaten by sales of PlayStation peripherals, which were at 6%. So that's the HD camera, that's spare DualSense controllers, that's the 3D Pulse headset, that's the controller charger, all of that kind of stuff. Sony expects that success to continue, forecasting even higher revenue for the next fiscal year, although it expects profits to drop due to increased game development costs, among other things. Part of the success will come down to its already announced target of 14.8 million units sold in PS5's second year. So that's what they want. They pretty much want to double it. While part shortages could continue to be a problem, Jim Ryan has said that the company is actively working to increase supply. So yeah, that's a Wow. What do you think of this? I know you very much are more of a money man than I am, and this is something that you like talking about. So, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean it's they're I mean it's what it's like we've been saying. I mean they've been very very highly successful. And that's why I'm saying, like, at that point, don't rock the boat so much. It's like um it's like, why I mean, I understand where your criticisms come from in terms of like, oh well, there's always things they could do better, or this might be a better approach. But it's like, I mean, end of the day, I mean, they're despite my criticisms, I mean, they're doing very, very well, financially. I think they have a lot of momentum coming from the PlayStation 4 era. I think that's it's really, it's really kind of continued on into the PlayStation 5. I don't think we don't really see um as much direct competition for them aside from Xbox and
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft. But the thing with Xbox and Microsoft, of course, is that they're really sort of an irrelevancy outside of the U.S. I mean, their sales are basically zero in Japan. They've tried to break into the Japanese market now for 4 generations. And it just hasn't worked at all. Each generation is less successful. Europe, they've lost a lot of ground last generation, and even in the States, they lost a lot of ground
Mm-hmm.
too. So I mean, yeah, the Series X is doing really well, but there's not a lot of direct competition. I mean, I don't think people buy like a Switch, for example, and that's like their only system. I think they
Mm-hmm.
pick up a PlayStation 5, or they have a PC or something like that, or an Xbox or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they, like I said, they have that a lot of momentum. Like I said, there's a lot of things that Sony does that I disagree with very strongly. I don't like a lot of things about the direction. I mean, that's actually probably a good topic for another video, to kind of itemize that list of mistakes and blunders I think they've made since the PlayStation 2 era, which will always kind of be the glory days for me. But yeah, I mean, they're doing very, very well. And even for me, with as critical as I am, I mean, I can point to a lot of things they've done very, very well. We had a fantastic game of the year last year, that was exclusive, and still is exclusive to PlayStation.
Yep.
You had that. I mean, you had a lot, a pretty good amount of fantastic games this past generation that even I enjoyed, as critical as I am. I
Mm-hmm.
think, despite the problems with the PlayStation 5, I wish it would have been more open to backwards compatibility, but at least it is basically flawlessly backwards compatible with PlayStation 4.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a good console. I like, I my complaints with the PlayStation 5 are very, very nitpicky at this point. It's little
Mm-hmm.
things like changing, like adding, different folders for organizing, or changing the way trophies look. That's about it, really. I can't
Yeah.
really think of a lot of things to complain about. Obviously, the storage on it is low, but that doesn't really matter for me. I just, delete and re-download games. That's no problem. But yeah, I mean, it's, they're clearly know what they're doing. I think they could improve their I think they could improve the PlayStation Now service, and probably copy Game Pass a little bit more as well too.
Yeah. I do
But
agree.
even then, I mean, it's not really all that much different, aside from the down, not having enough games you can just straight download. They're really very similar services in a lot of ways. So it's yeah, I mean, they know clearly, they're pretty successful with this. And I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to see some of the stuff down the road. I want to see how their second attempt at a VR model works. I want to see that. I want to see if we see some more surprises this generation. So I mean, I am I am pretty optimistic, despite how I sound sometimes. I am pretty optimistic about this generation as a whole.
The one thing that I found the most fascinating about is that only 5% of the sales are from retail, physical versions of games, where everything else beat it out, including peripherals. Like, that was the lowest amount of money that they made. Um, which,
Yeah,
which,
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's well, I mean, think about it too. I mean, we already know that physical games were on their way out, basically, even before everything started last year.
yeah.
But
Like, I understand that that's where everything is going, but it's I guess this is the old man in me where I'm like, but physical. Which side note, we always source everything that we talk about. If the sources for this topic specifically, I do have tweets from Daniel Ahmad, which he even breaks it down even more. There's a pie chart that he talks about, kind of the quarter growth over the past few years. And then I have the entire Sony pretty much earnings call, or the pretty much the all the information about it. You can go ahead and look in the sources in the description below.
Yeah, and I'm 100% behind you on the physical stuff too. I mean, I obviously I'm a game collector, and I keep saying that we will have collecting videos up. But I mean, I was just at a store today collecting games. I have physical is very important to me too. But in terms of I think most of us have kind of we've moved on from the we didn't draw a line in the sand with that. We've kind of moved on from that. And I mean, honestly, it's I don't know, it's another topic for another time. But I just for most games, I mean, to be honest, most games are kind of, and this is not a dig on games in general. Most games are kind of disposable, for lack of a better term, in that once you've played them, you probably don't really want to play them again. You've experienced them once. There's very few games that are like all-time classic type of things, So I mean, even the physical side of it, it's only 5% of sales. I mean, you could say like, oh, physical's dying. Oh, it's like this is terrible. But at the same time, it's like, are we losing all that much? I don't think so. There's always going to be physical. It's not like physical's gone. We still have physical vinyl. We have physical CDs. We have physical Blu-rays. You're always going to have physical games, but it's going to be a niche market type of thing that you're just not going to see as like a mainstream thing anymore. Which it's there's good and bad about that.
Yeah. So, but let's move on. Next topic is that The Last of Us Part 3 does have a plot, but it's not being made yet. Again, this also comes from IGN. Pretty much, Naughty Dog has written a story outline of Last of Us Part 3, but isn't making the sequel right now. Creative director Neil Druckmann says that he hopes that he can one day see the light of day. Speaking on an episode of the Script Apart podcast about the writing of Last of Us Part 2, Druckmann touched briefly on the possibility of a sequel. Quote, I don't know how much I want to reveal. Co-writer Haley Gross and I did write an outline for a story that we're not making, but I do hope one day that it can see the light. It explores a little bit of what happens after the game. We will see. Druckmann says that there's been quite a bit of discussion internally about a part 3, but pointed out how much work is involved in making a game like that a reality. Quote, these games take so much to make. Part 2, I've been thinking about for 7 years between when the last game came out and when this came out. You want to make sure that you're jazzed by the idea that you have, that it feels like it's challenging. And then it kind of continues about talking about the 2, and it's more about he talks more about the podcast because it kind of goes over pieces of it and stuff. But pretty much the premise of this is that, mind you, Neil Druckmann's also like heading the HBO Max TV show that's being made, which I will talk about that in a little bit. So, but there's a lot of stuff that like Neil Druckmann has his hands in. So, and then also, if you want in the sources, I have the entire podcast up there too, if you want to give it a listen. So, just to go ahead and briefly talk about this also, there is a reason why The Last of Us movie did fall apart. Because before the TV show, for years, there has been a Last of Us movie that was going to get made. Speaking on the same podcast, he goes ahead and talks about what happened. So, quote, when I worked on the movie version, a lot of the thinking and notes were like, how do we make it bigger? How do we make set pieces bigger? Druckmann did not point fingers as to who in the studio system provided those notes, but he said that the approach was responsible for the film's downfall. It didn't work for The Last of Us, and I think that's ultimately why the movie wasn't made. As a video game, The Last of Us has plenty of combat due to the way that its gameplay structure works, but the story aspect of the game, which is essentially the base of any film or TV adaptation, is more subdued than a Hollywood blockbuster. Thankfully, Druckmann says that moving to a TV series has helped capture the team's original intentions intentions of the game. Quote, "Our approach for The Last of Us, let's make it as an indie film," he revealed. Let's approach it as an indie film team. The way it's shot, the way how small and intimate it feels, and with the show, we get to lean into that even more because we don't have as many action sequences as we do in the game. In the game, there's certain mechanics for pacing purposes. You have to engage in those mechanics every once in a while. You need enough combat to change those mechanics, and you can throw all that out for the TV show because now we're in a different medium. Let's play the strengths of the medium. So pretty much what he's saying is that the movie fell apart because the studio that wanted to make the movie or whatever, not Naughty Dog or Neil Druckmann, they were like, more action pieces, more set pieces, more action, more, I'm paraphrasing, but let's make it more like Avengers and more like a Marvel movie and let's put more action into it. And Neil was like, nope, story, narrative, that's what I want. So yeah, what do you think about this?
Like I said, I mean, I don't have anything good to say about Last of Us in general, but I think I don't know. I mean, it's I mean, we've already. I mean, just basically just make this into because I mean they're still going forward with the TV series, right?
Yes, the TV show. It is changed from a movie to a TV show now. They've already cast their
which they should have. That makes more sense to me in general because I mean you have basically you're just making The Walking Dead. Over again. It's just Walking Dead with a different coat of paint. Is so. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I doubt they're gonna make this entertaining. Like I said, really in general, like I said, I keep going back to the same general rule. Movie and TV adaptations of video games usually just do not work. You're taking a medium. It just there's something inherent in it that just does not work either. You're taking a medium that's very active, that's very that has the player connected to it in a very direct fashion, and you're moving to a passive medium. It just doesn't work. I think of all my favorite games. I mean, I just don't think they would work as well as movies. It's just you need that interaction. You need to feel like you're a part of the game world, that you're immersed in it. And I think something's lost when you try to just copy paste that into a different medium like that. And I mean, there's just not a good example. You're talking about. I mean, it's been tried for decades now. You have some successful success stories about it, but for the most part, critically and just in terms of quality, these movies are never good. At best, the very best you can really hope for is maybe a guilty pleasure. Maybe you get a Mortal Kombat. The 90s Mortal Kombat movie, or you get a Warcraft movie that's a guilty pleasure, and they're never good or great or anything, but they are a good guilty pleasure type of flick, and I just think it's inherent to it. You can't go from an active medium to a passive medium and expect it to have the same result.
Well, the thing is with Last of Us is that the reason why people love.
Actually, to kind of jump in front of your point there for a sec, I think you were about to bring up a really good point that I didn't consider. There is that, and actually this is kind of the criticism of Last of Us and a lot of Sony exclusives is they are called and it's in a derogatory way, they're called movie games because you don't really play them. They're just largely just a movie experience, and even God of War 2018 was kind of called a movie experience because you spend half your time watching cutscenes and not really playing the game. So maybe that would work in its favor in this case, because if people just care about the story and the cutscenes, then maybe that would work. That would work better. It's kind of like the Metal Gear Solid effect, because I mean, if you ever played a Metal Gear Solid game, it's 10 minutes of gameplay than 4 hours of cutscenes.
You either watch Metal Gear or play Metal Gear. Like,
yeah, you're pretty much watching it. So I think Metal Gear, honestly, I think, for that series, they missed the boat on it. They should have made that into like an anime. Metal Gear would have been a great anime series, and I probably would have had very few criticisms of it if it was an anime. Which I think is what they wanted to make in the first place, because there's a lot of anime references to it, and there's a character named Otaku Convention in it.
Yeah.
So I think they should have just made it into an anime, and they would have had more. I mean, obviously they had a lot of success, but I think it would have worked. It would work better as a piece of media as an anime. But so maybe for a more passive game, that's more of a movie experience, maybe this would work better. But go ahead, make your point. I'm sorry.
I mean, like, the thing is with, like, Last of Us, the reason why Last of Us 1 is such a beloved game is because of its narrative. Like, I love the narrative of Last of Us 1, and I personally love the narrative of Last of Us 2. I know I'm going to probably get hated on the internet. Some people love it, some people hate it, and that's kind of just how it is. And that's the reason why
I don't think you'll get hated on. I think it seems like a lot of people love it. I mean, for some reason, people just, like I said, for some reason, people seem to glom onto it. I don't know what it is, but
all I'm saying is, like, with Last of Us Part 2, either you love it or you hate it, and it's never about the gameplay. It's never about, because the gameplay is, like, in both games, very good, gorgeous graphically. But it's the narrative that has split the fan base in half, literally in half, where it's either you love Last of Us Part 2 or you hate Last of Us Part 2. There is no, well, I like it, but there are some things that I don't like. Like, I have my criticisms of Last of Us Part 2. I do not believe Last of Us Part 2, and I've said this again, Last of Us Part 2 is not a perfect game. It isn't. It does have problems narratively, but it is not the piece of trash, garbage fire that a lot of people, like other people, have talked about. But that's why I think this can be successful, is because Last of Us is more narratively driven. It has great gameplay, don't get me wrong, but it's the narrative that people have fallen in love with that game for. Even for us, even for God of War 2018, like, the gameplay is fantastic, but, like, for me personally, what makes me love God of War 2018 is really the narrative. That the combat is fantastic, and they changed it to more of that third person, with a stamina bar, that kind of, like, Dark Souls-esque, like the action fighting game, or that kind of thing. So, but it's the narrative that has me going, I cannot wait for God of War Ragnarok or whatever the next one is. So, and it being a TV show is a much better way to go about doing it, I would say. But I really do hope that Naughty Dog isn't just remaking Last of Us 1, because I'm like, I don't need that. It's only 8 years old. Like, I understand that's, like, ancient when it comes to video games. Like, if it's even even 2 years old is too old. Like, I don't know. But that I do hope for. I would love to see Naughty Dog work on a new IP, not just go back to the well of Uncharted. Or if they do go back to the well, go back to Jak and Daxter. Do that. That's what I would love. So, yeah. Let's move on. Next topic is that Sony is going to aggressively invest in the PlayStation Studios and third-party exclusives. So this comes from The Gamer. So, first, I apologize, The Gamer. Apparently, you are a bit more legitimate than I thought, because I never heard of you, and then all of a sudden, after The Gamer was talking about the whole store shutdown and everything, all of a sudden, I'm seeing more sources and stuff, and apparently I was wrong. I maybe not have dug deeper. But this is from The Gamer. And it's pretty much Sony's going to invest an additional $183 million into PlayStation exclusives over the next year. So PlayStation has been big on exclusives for a while now. And their continued success is a proof that is set to continue. In fact, as discussed by Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki this week, the plan going forward is to invest even more money into PlayStation's in-house projects. During a call with investors, Totoki revealed that Sony plans to up its investment in that area by 183 million over the coming year. Quote, "We intend to increase development personnel and other in-house costs by approximately 20 billion yen, which is the 183 million, year on year, and to further strengthen our in-house software," which Totoki revealed to VGC. This comes off the back of Sony publishing its financial report for the tax year ending in March 2021, which we have already discussed. So pretty much what they're doing is that they're investing more into the PlayStation Studios along with their third-party brands. So like Deathloop is a Sony exclusive for a year, but it's made by Arcane, who is now like part of Bethesda, which is now owned by Xbox, but because of the contract, that still exists. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean it's good to see. Obviously, I mean this is good to see that they're putting, they're keeping this as a focus. They're not going the kind of the Microsoft route, or at least or at least as it were before, where they just kind of petered out. I mean, I think we still remember in the 360 era where like Microsoft, for example, had a really strong start and then, kind of just stopped making games really. And, it really not until later in the Xbox One's life cycle have they actually tried to start producing games. And now with Series X more so, it seems like they're making it more of a priority finally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to have, people buy video game. I mean, this is not earth-shattering information, but people buy video game systems to play video games. So you have to have experiences on them that that people want to come back for and want to. It's an expectation. That's why people are buying a PlayStation 5. It's not necessarily to play things that are on it right now as much, but it's more so the expectation of things to come. And I mean, this is what sells. This is what sells Nintendo consoles. I mean, Nintendo believes in exclusives. I mean, it's a big focus for them. It's a huge focus for them. So it's good to see Sony doing this. And that they're still focused on this. I mean, now exclusives aren't everything. Obviously, no. I mean, they're usually not even, with the exception of Nintendo, they're usually not even in the top 10 best-selling games of the system of the generation. If you look at the top games of the PlayStation 4, I don't think the exclusives really show up on there, especially when you account for bundles and pack-ins. But still, they're an important part of the console's identity. They're it's when you think of PlayStation, you think of these games, and what I hope that we see with this aggressive investment is we don't just it's kind of like I hope it doesn't turn into what we just talked about on a previous episode where it just becomes, okay, we're gonna pump out another Last of Us Part 40 and Last of Us remake of Last of Us 1 Part 2 and all this stuff. I mean, take some chances, make some new game. I mean, they took a chance on a game last year and it worked out pretty well for them with Ghost. Yeah. So I mean, I hope that we see more of it, and I hope we see more in more divergent genres. I don't want to just play an open world, third-person game forever. I mean, I'd love to see Sony take a try at at like a like they said they're taking a try at a multiplayer game, but I'd love to see them take a try at something else that maybe you don't really see. Take a chance on something. I mean, nobody really takes any risks anymore. It feels like it's always got to be. I miss the old days, as where you'd have games that would come out that were even in the not so recent past. I mean, we had a generation or two ago, we had a Sony produced, or at least it was a first party game. Like it was like this massive action game, like a big 100 people versus 100 people multiplayer game. That was it wasn't a great game, but it was interesting. It was fun to play.
Yeah.
It was a risky game. I mean, on Microsoft's side of it, they made a Halo real-time strategy game, and they actually made a sequel to that. I mean,
I
take
love
some
Halo
chance.
Wars. I love
Yeah, I
Halo
love
Wars.
Halo Wars. I mean, I just wish they take more chances. Yeah, you're not going to sell 400 million copies. It's not going to be the next Grand Theft Auto 5, but you will you'll attract a range of fans to it. That's what keeps that's what will keep people coming back to as those kind of unique, memorable titles.
I do agree because, like, again, we've talked about in our past episodes, pretty much with the pretty much over the past like 3 episodes, with like now, like the petition. There's a petition going about getting Days Gone 2 made, like getting that pitch actually happening, and I think it's like over 80,000 now, if not more, and like. I agree. I would love to see a Days Gone 2. Like, that game had potential. And, like, you don't need to make, like, again, do I want to see the next God of War? Of course I do. Do I want to see the next Horizon? Of course I do. Of course I want to see an Uncharted. And, yeah, I know of course I want those. But I also want to see more of, like, different games. I don't need to see I don't want to just see Uncharted, God of War, and like just more Horizon. I want more, of course, but I want other stuff on top of it. Like that's your meat. Those games are gonna sell your system. Like Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, all that stuff. That's going to sell your system. But like having games like Last Guardian and Knack and Gravity Rush and these weird games that are exclusive to PlayStation, that are really more niche, different, but it gives you the identity of it. And there are people who buy that stuff up, like me. So I do want to see more risks. I do want to see PlayStation just do more. So, but this is great. I'm so happy that they are going, no, we're exclusives. Exclusives. That's what we want. And I'm very happy to see that they're going more in on their exclusives along with their third party. Hence, like partnering with Haven, partnering with Firewalk, like making the whatever multiplayer game that they're going to be doing with Firewalk, and then making whatever. I think the Haven game is going to be the weird indie game from PlayStation. It's going to be the weird game coming from there. And that's what I definitely want to see. So, I look forward to that. But let's move on. Next topic is that we are getting hosts for E3 2021. E3 announces their hosts for this year's E3. From E3 itself, from E3Expo.com, E3 2021 enlists Greg Miller from Kinda Funny, Jackie Jing, and Alex Golden Boy Mendez as the digital events hosts. So E3 is going to be taking place Saturday, June 12th through Tuesday, June 15th. These three will be the hosts. Will guide the 4-day broadcast, providing expert-level commentary, publisher and developer interviews, with much more. So Greg Miller, I've actually I've been watching him for years. He pretty much started at IGN and now is the co-founder of online entertainment outlet Kinda Funny. He has pretty much been one of gaming's most sought-after hosts for various events across the country. He is known for his comedic and insightful takes. He has deep ties to video and podcast content on video game culture, film, TV, and comics. Jackie Jing is Emmy-nominated TV journalist and current on-camera host and producer seen on IGN, Nerdist, Funimation, and Anime News Network. Jing has hosted several red carpet events and conducted dozens of celebrity interviews for AAA feature films. And then Alex Golden Boy Mendez is one of the top professional esports commentators, host for multiple fan favorite games including Fortnite, Halo, Valorant, and Overwatch, as well as commentator for NBC's Titan games. He's also, I wish they put this on here, he also was commentary for All Elite Wrestling's Fyter Fest pay-per-view back in 2019. Mendez recently announced he will be bringing his comedic styles to G4, so he's also, G4 is back. So these are your three hosts for E3, and I'm very happy. Like, I love Golden Boy. Golden Boy is great. Greg Miller, great. I very much enjoy what he does. And Jackie, I haven't really seen much of Jackie, her work, but I think that's going to be very, very fun and to watch.
Yeah, I've aside from Greg Miller, I really haven't heard of any of these. Like, I mean, it's you know, I don't you know, and I'm not really a fan of Greg Miller at all.
No.
So
No.
so yeah, I'm less than enthused.
All right, so note to self: bar Spectre from E3 watch along. All right, no, I'm kidding. This is where Spectre goes, I don't care. No, I mean, I disagree with you, but, you know, that's our host. Like, do you think it's great that we have hosts for E3?
I mean, I guess you have to have somebody read the thing, but it's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, I
can't take you out in public ever, Spectre. I just can't.
I don't know. I couldn't care less about these people. You know, it's,
whatever. Dude, I'm looking forward. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And these three, like, again, Golden Boy is great at what he does. Like, I don't watch esports, but, like, he is very good at what he does. He's a very, very good commentator. And Greg Miller, great at what he does. Which Greg Miller is going to be having a baby, which... Congratulations, Greg Miller. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Yeah, he's married. He's been married for 4 years.
It's kind of surprising.
Shut up. Wow. But anyway, well, I'm
not a fan of the guy. I don't like his politics. I don't like his takes on things. So.
All right. Well, whatever.
I'm more of I probably would get along more with his ex co-host or whatever. So
Colin Moriarty.
Yeah, and even then, we probably wouldn't see him, and I probably wouldn't see eye to eye on everything. But,
well, yeah, but
I'd rather have a beer with like a Colin Moriarty than with a Greg Miller. So,
well, I mean, again, I'm open to having a beer with any of them. So, there you go. But let's move on.
You have a beer with anybody?
Shut up. Anyway, let's move on. Next topic is that the PS5 is the most popular console to develop for, survey says. This article comes from IGN. A new report from GDC, the Game Developer Conference, has suggested that the PS5 is the most popular console to develop for, while PC, of course, remains the most popular platform with developers overall. In the GDC's 2021 State of the Game Industry Report, which is based on a survey of over 3,000 games industry professionals, of the people polled, 44% said that they were most interested in the PS5 from a developer perspective. That positions it as the most popular console in the survey, ahead of the Nintendo Switch, which is 38%, the Xbox Series X and S, which is at 30%, which is also ahead of the VR platforms, which is at 27% too. And then it kind of talks about while PC, of course, is the one that everyone loves to do. As for platforms, the developer interest is barely there. Just 4% that they said that they were interested in PlayStation Now, and only 6% expressed interest for Google Stadia. Xbox's Project X Cloud came in a little higher at 8%, or at least as the survey suggests. It appears the developer's appetite for video game streaming is far from high. So, there you go. So GDC, which is the big game developer conference. We actually did when they back in last year. Yeah, it was last year when at GDC when Sony came out and talked about the PS5, and that was the tech explanation, and that it was good. But if you were there to see announcements, that's not what it was there for. It just talked about specs and oof. But it's good to hear that the PS5 is the most popular console to develop for.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, well, it's kind of, I mean, sort of like a logical, kind of what would you expect type of thing, it's
I honestly thought it would have been Xbox.
why would you? I mean, one is radically outselling everything. I mean, you would think it would be like the PS5 or the Switch or whatever. I mean, like I if anything, I would if you would have asked me, I would have said the Switch.
I mean, the only reason I said Xbox is because the Xbox Series X feels like it's just a PC. That's why.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I think yeah, no, that's yeah. I guess I didn't have a follow up to that.
Nah, that's fine. But yeah, it's great that that actually it is great to hear that developers want to make more stuff for PS5. So that is definitely that's a plus for PlayStation. So I'm down for that. Let's move on. Next topic is that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is getting a PS5 and Series X update. This comes from StarWars.com because of May the 4th, Star Wars Day. On Star Wars Day, on May 4th, there's a bunch of sales happening, bundles and other stuff, but pretty much the big news is that coming this summer, we're excited to announce that the next-gen release of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order brings a number of technical improvements to the PS5 and Xbox Series console versions of the game. This will be a free cross-generation upgrade to current owners, there'll be more details later. But pretty much they have said that we are doing a whole PS5 and Xbox Series update to Jedi Fallen Order, which was a really good game. A fantastic Star Wars game.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It kind of surprised me. I didn't think I really was going to care for it, but I thought it was okay. I'm not overselling it. I mean, I don't think it was like a masterpiece. I don't think it was like one of the greatest games of all time or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But definitely very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I would I saw this article before, with the the update coming, so that's good. I guess I'll be curious to see if there's a what's it called, like, if there's like a separate list for it or something like that. Maybe it's time for me to kind of dive back into it and do another run. I enjoyed it enough to do another playthrough. So we'll see, or maybe it'll just be like another auto pop thing, just like what we've had for a lot of games. So
that'd be great.
I mean, that's mostly what I'm interested in, is just the trophy side of it at this point, just because. But we'll see.
But yeah, so I look forward. And then, of course, on this, not only does it talk about that, but there's tons of sales on May the 4th, which is great. So that's going to be really, really fun, and that'll be great. There's a bunch of sales there, like half off on Star Wars games. Vader Immortal, which is on the PSVR, that's going to be half off. I'm going to be buying that. That's going to be good. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. Playing it with on the PS5 and like that 4K. Oh yeah, let's go. It was like 4K, and then I think you can do 60 frames per second along with 120, I believe. That'll be rad.
That'd be rad.
Let's move on. And that is it. That's all I got. All right. So that is all of the news, but we do have one more thing to talk about, which will be our PlayStation conversation, our main topic. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Let's go. This is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. So, today, we have gathered here today to talk about the supposed death of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon.
Okay.
We shall mourn for the losses. No, I'm so well, mind you, we are. It's not good. It's really not good. So the reason why I bring this up, our main topic is going to be talking about pretty much this article or this tweet that we got from Toys for Bob. Toys for Bob were the developers behind Skylanders, which kind of revitalized Spyro before the Ignited Trilogy, along with they were the ones who developed Crash 4, which is fantastic. Crash 4 is awesome. I love Crash 4. I'm surprised of how like fun Skylanders was. It really kind of revitalized Spyro, and because of like that, like Spyro was in a lot of like people's households, and kids who had parents who grew up with Spyro the Dragon in the PS1 days, now are playing Spyro. But we got a tweet from Toys for Bob saying, this is from April 29th. The tweet states, Toys for Bob is proud to support development for Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone, and look forward to more to come. Hashtag Let's Go Dev Squads. Hashtag Verdansk84. So it looks like that Toys for Bob is now just working on more Call of Duty, which of course they are. In an article from Eurogamer to continue this, Activision has put Crash Bandicoot 4 developer Toys for Bob on Call of Duty Warzone development duty. It talks about the tweet from official Toys for Bob saying that the studio is proud to support development for Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone. However, this California-based Toys for Bob appears to have suffered staff exits as part of this shift. Character designer and illustrator Nicholas Cole, who worked at Toys for Bob up to January on Crash 4, and before that, Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, tweeted, "It's an end of an era, but I wish my former co-workers still with TFB with the best with what's ahead." Then, which is quote, I'm sorry, let me just go ahead and do this. It continues, "Everyone I interfaced with and worked along with was let go. I'm very glad that it's not a total shuttering." Game designer Blake Malouf is another former Toys for Bob developer who tweeted to say that they had left the studio. "I left on my own terms," he said. "I had been needing to change anyways, so this just pushed my decision." Activision has declined to comment to that. But then I also do have an article coming from IGN. Pretty much it talks about this. There has been an update about talking about this. So the update from IGN states, Activision Blizzard has shared a statement with IGN denying that the company has undergone layoffs. Quote, "There has not been a reduction in personnel recently at the studio," said a company spokesman. "The development team is operating fully and has a number of full-time job openings at this time. The studio is excited to continue supporting Crash Bandicoot 4 in its about time, and more recently provide additional development support for Call of Duty Warzone." Which then IGN reached out to Nicholas Cole for more detail on his statement about employees being let go. So IGN is pretty much, IGN went to their sources inside of Activision, and we got this statement. And then IGN has reached out to Nicholas Cole specifically to talk about like people have been let go and stuff like that. I just want to make sure I have everything here. So Toys for Bob is seemingly the fourth studio to have worked on Warzone, with Infinity Ward leading the project at launch before passing it on to Treyarch and Raven Software. Warzone has become a huge priority for Activision in the last year, which goes some way to explaining throwing major resources at it. Along with also Activision recently merged Vicarious Visions into Blizzard. So great. Toys for Bob, like Vicarious Vision was what the last game they did was the Tony Hawk remaster or remake or whatever, and Vicarious Visions have been sucked up into Blizzard. And so we're probably not going to be getting like I was very hopeful. I was like, okay, well maybe we'll see something. But like with Vicarious Visions being sucked into Blizzard, and now Toys for Bob just like, all right, work on Call of Duty. Like, ugh, this frustrates me. I'll let you talk before I go ahead and kind of maybe go on a rant.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I mean, yeah, disappointing. Yes, I mean I really like I said, the worst thing was referencing Vicarious Visions. I still want to see a Tony Hawk 3 and 4, or at least at very least a 3
Yeah.
remake. I mean that was my favorite game in the series, and I'd love to see that. I think it would be pretty popular. But I don't know if we're going to see that anytime soon. But yeah, then and back to Toys for Bob. Yeah, I mean it's what can you say? It's kind of sad. I mean, I understand. I mean, it comes down to just being, I think, just a cold, callous, marketing decision, and I understand. I mean, they're going where the money goes. They're focusing on they're going to focus on their golden goose here with their Call of Duty Warzone, and that's just where all their efforts going to go to. I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint. It's sad, and it's sad from a gamer standpoint because I mean, you and I know we don't care about Call of Duty in general. It's not really our thing, and yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, what else can you really say about it? I felt like I don't know have the sales figures in front of me for Crash, but I feel like Crash. I mean, obviously, Insane Trilogy did really well. They did. They redid Crash Team Racing, and then they did. Crash 4, of course, just came out not too long ago. But I think it's just maybe it's just Activision being Activision again. They pumped out a bunch of games, and it just isn't meeting the ever increasing growth demands that they set for these games. And they're moving on. They're moving back to the safer bet. I mean, they're not exactly they're not. I mean, with a business of their size, they're not exactly in the business of taking extreme risks. So they're going to go with. They're going to go with what they it's been they know is going to work. So I think that's just what it comes down to.
While you were talking about that, I actually went ahead and pulled this up. This is from Statista. And it's between the three Crash games. So it's between the Insane Trilogy, CTR, Nitro Refueled, and Crash 4. And apparently, now this is specifically to digital sales. This doesn't include like sold on disc, retail, anything like that. But this is probably, it's regardless of like retail, it probably equates the same. It doesn't really change anything. But according to what I see here, in the thousands, Crash. So the Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, sold 520,000. These are digital copies, so these are in units. So Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, sold 520,000. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled sold 552,000. And then Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, sold 402, which pretty much is like over, like less than 100,000. Like there's more than 100,000 difference between Crash 4 and the Insane Trilogy. So, like, look, I get it. It's a like video games. They're like, these companies are in it, especially when it comes to the big names, the EAs, Ubisoft, Activisions of the world. It's about making money. I can't fault them for that, for making money. What frustrates me is that you I like sales wise, I get it. It makes sense. 402 versus 520. Like apparently you didn't like. Not saying you didn't make money because maybe it profited and stuff, but comparing the last Crash Bandicoot game and then Crash 4, there's a massive difference between them. And that to them, because even then, I don't even like again like when Activision said, "Yeah, we're doing the Insane trilogy," that was such a surprise because all of us were like, "They're never gonna do that. They've had Crash for years. They don't give a crap about that. They're just gonna go ahead and vomit out more Call of Duties and whatever the crap." Like back in what was it? I think it was like 2014? No, 2016. 2016. Haha, there we go. In 2016 when that was announced, it was nuts. Like, I lost my mind over that. Like, it just, there's a Crash Bandicoot, and we're redoing Crash. And I very much feel that Sean Layden was heading PlayStation. The reason Crash exists is because PlayStation and Sean Layden went, we have this contract deal with you where you're giving us exclusives. We want Crash Bandicoot back. We want our good old mascot back. And we got the Insane trilogy from Vicarious Visions, which did a phenomenal job on that game. And then Toys for Bob did Crash 4, and it was fantastic. And then Vicarious Visions did Spyro, and that was just as good. Like, it's so frustrating to see these companies just go, great, we did the thing that makes the people happy. Back to the grindstone. Go back to vomiting out the stuff that makes us the money. I get it because it's a company, but it's so infuriating. Seeing Activision again, it's freaking all Activision does is that they just beat a dead horse until they can't get anything from it anymore. Like they did it with Tony Hawk back in the day. They did it with Guitar Hero. They've been doing it with Call of Duty, and they keep revitalizing it. And so Call of Duty has been around for over 20 plus years, or at least it feels like 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a pattern. I mean, it's not just with Call of Duty. I mean, they beat series to death, and I mean, usually they discard them and move on. But Call of Duty's been just the one kind of mainstay out of all of it, and really, it's not even Call of Duty as so much as traditional Call of Duty. It's Warzone. I think is kind of their big thing now.
Yeah,
and which is basically just a copy sort of amalgamation of kind of PUBG and the battlegrounds battle royale style of game.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, when it comes down to it, I mean it's Activision. That they have they've built up a juggernaut of a company here. They have to keep going with what works, and that's just how it's going to be. But
you already have two other studios already working. Like, this is unneeded. And look, like, I know, like, it's surprising how we give EA tons of crap. We were literally, crapping upon EA earlier in this episode talking about Battlefield 5. I've talked about how EA, screwed up Star Wars Battlefront. Battlefront 1 was a skeleton of a game when it first came out. Now with the complete full edition, now it's an actual game, but you need to get the season pass and everything. And then with Battlefield 2, it's a great game when it comes to its gameplay, but no one could see it because it was just bogged down with crappy play to win or pay to win microtransactions. You need to get these chests, and you get this, and you get that. Then EA had to change because finally we went and said, screw all this. This is dumb. And then, the mouse came in and went, ha, well, you're doing something wrong. You better not do that. So, that's why they changed it. And, Jedi Fallen Order was made by EA, by Respawn. That's a great game. And I think that's because, they can't really screw it up because they would lose the license for it. Now, I'm happy that Lucasfilm Studios, which is their gaming division, is just going, we're just going to give our properties to other developers. Like, Bethesda's working on an Indiana Jones game, and we're going to be getting we talked about it, that Asper is working on the next on a remake of KOTOR. They're just giving out the licenses to other studios, which is phenomenal. But it's surprising that we give so much flack to EA. And I think it's because we know this is just EA. EA Sports, it's in the game. Of course they make it microtransactions. Of course they do these scummy bullcrap stuff. Look at their Madden games. Look at FIFA. Look at all their ridiculous sports games that they put no effort in. It's just a reskin. They put just whatever was from last year back into it. Shine it up if they can. Vomit it out. Make it $60, $70, $80, $100, because depending on the edition. Get all the microtransactions, get the Ultimate Team, and there you go. We're used to that. That's why I think we crap on EA, because we're like, oh, look at EA being a scumbag. Of course they're being a scumbag. Where I feel like with Activision, because Activision has made phenomenal games, and some of my favorite games, like the Spider-Man games on the PS1, Web of Shadows was a Ravens game. Tony Hawk, we could talk about Tony Hawk all day. The original Tony Hawk. Even Guitar Hero, when it wasn't just vomited out and stuff. Guitar Hero was a fun game. So, and Call of Duty is a fun game. There are specific Call of Duties that are really good games. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. That game is really good. Black Ops, the original Black Ops, and Cold War is really good, but they keep going. Hey, more Call of Duty, more stuff, more of the same stuff. And I don't know, this is just, it's frustrating that Activision doesn't see, you have other properties, you have other things that you could use. You don't get, again, who cares? This is literal, just added money to your Call of Duty. Call of Duty is going to be your golden goose. Call of Duty is your lifeblood. You can't, I understand, you can't get rid of Call of Duty. You can't just, axe Warzone, because now Warzone is making you even more money, because Battle Royale is the new thing. But I don't understand why they just went, yeah, Toys for Bob, you're working on this now. You're just supplement about this. And then Blizzard goes ahead and sucks up Vicarious Visions. Mind you, they probably needed to, because when Blizzard went ahead and freaking remade Warcraft 3, it was an absolute garbage fire. Absolute piece of rubbish. So they kind of need a Vicarious Visions, because Vicarious Visions have done remasters, they've done them right. But it's still infuriating to be well, we're not going to get another Tony Hawk. Who knows what we're going to see? And yeah, we may get Diablo. They're probably working on the Diablo 2 remaster that we have heard about. And that'll be great. Awesome. What next? What's after? What are they going to do next? They're going to still be part of Blizzard. They're going to still be over here. So, are you just going to go ahead and tell them to remaster Warcraft 3 again?
I'm afraid so.
I don't know. I just am frustrated. I don't like this. It's just, I don't know. What do you think about kind of Activision kind of being similar to EA?
Yeah, I mean, well, there is a lot of similarities between they both, they rely on their main, tentpole, series. They both have definitely a history of, milking franchises to death, and of course they're both infamous for, killing off, developers and studios that they feel are no longer, they kind of chew them up and spit them out. This is kind of the nature of the kind of this of the beast now, and I think it's I mean, there's a lot of reasons that there's a lot of things that have led to this state of affairs, but I think a big part of it is really it started way back early in the 2000s when development budgets exploded. I think really, like I said, it's a case of me being an old man again, but really in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000s were kind of the glory days because people could, you had, you had cases of, one guy making a game and publishing it and everything and it being pretty successful and everything like that. You had stories like that with small teams making, think of some of the biggest games that we have now. A lot of, some of the franchises that have endured. They weren't made by these massive, 1,000 people teams, development teams. They're made by, 20 to 30 people or less.
Yeah.
You don't really see that anymore. Now you have you need an army of people working on 1,000 different things just to make one game, and we've lost something in the process here. I think.
Well, I can't go ahead and agree with you completely because, like, for example, Five Nights at Freddy's,
Yeah,
Scott
you still have
Cawthon.
indie games, and yeah, you still have some indie games,
Yeah,
but for every indie game that's successful, you have 10,000 of them that just don't get ever any attention.
of course,
Yeah,
of
I
course.
mean, not everything can be a Minecraft or a Five Nights at Freddy's.
Or
I mean,
Among Us or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, really, the only thing you can really do is just not. Do your best to not support this stuff. Try to support the stuff that actually is worthy of your dollar and stuff like that. If they're throwing everything, if they're throwing all their eggs in the Call of Duty Warzone basket and you're not buying into it, then that's really the best thing you can do.
Yeah. No, I agree. If this didn't happen, like if Vicarious Visions and Toys for Bob still were like kind of were on their own, or they were working on whatever next project, do you think, like, what do you think that Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions could have been working on before they got sucked up into Blizzard for Vicarious Visions and Call of Duty for Toys for Bob?
I don't really like what were they working on?
Predicting. I like now. Let's kind of like fantasy book this. Like, what do you think? Toys for Bob just finished Crash Bandicoot 4. Vicarious Visions just finished Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. What do you think they could have been or they could have worked on as the next project for each company? For each developer, for Vicarious Visions and Toys for Bob.
I really don't know. I mean, what?
So like for me, maybe I'll go first so that way I can give you an example. So like for me, what I would probably believe is that you got Crash 4, and Toys for Bob did that one. What I could see is I believe Vicarious Visions did CTR, while Toys for Bob did Spyro, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. And so what I probably would have seen is that with the success, and I do believe, and I do feel that Crash 4 was a successful game, but again, according to Activision, you have to beat out your other stuff, because if it doesn't, beat out the last game or whatever, it's not worth your time. And I understand it's a business. But with the success of Crash 4, I could see Toys for Bob working on Spyro 4. Like the next Spyro game. Not like, where it's the actual literal number 4 sequel after Year of the Dragon. I could see that. And then I could honestly see Vicarious Visions go, oh, look at Tony Hawk. We sold it, and it's great, and people are loving it, and bah! Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. But do it. And that's what I would see. I could see that. I could also see another thing, like, I'm trying to think of a property. I would, like, I don't know if there would be another property that I would want to see Vicarious Visions. I could see Vicarious Visions work on as the next project outside of 3 and 4. I don't know. I'm just kind of exhausted to hear just all this. I understand this is a business. I understand that, like, this is how things work. Gotta go work on Call of Duty. Gonna go and work on. And the reason why I'm frustrated, like, yes, I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I don't care about Call of Duty. It's not my cup of tea. I understand why people love it. I understand why it's one of the most popular games every year, because Call of Duty Call of Duty is like my Destiny. Destiny for me is the game where I don't have to think. I don't have to. It's a game that I can play for like an hour, be done, go and do something else. Call of Duty is a get in, get out kind of game. You do not have to spend a lot of time with. You don't have to spend a day to go through a campaign, or you can because the campaigns are short. But like, you play Call of Duty for the multiplayer. That's why it's there. So you go ahead, you play for an hour or two, play with your buddies because you just got home after work, or school. You take a load off and you want to go ahead and play with your buddies. And I get that. I understand that. But Call of Duty is going to make money regardless. And you already have, for Warzone specifically, you already have two other developers overseeing this. You have, and I think it's also, Beanox is also part of it. Let's see. Yeah, so like it's yeah, because Treyarch and Raven Software is doing Warzone, but I think Beanox is also helping out also, which Beanox is the developer who did the old Spider-Man games on like the PS3. I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm mad, and I love these old school platformers. I got so excited when there was a Crash 4. I got so excited when they were going to remaster Spyro. I love the Reignited Trilogy.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, but I don't know. In a way, I mean, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here. I mean, another way to look at it is, maybe, I mean, I guess just be grateful for what we got, and I mean, maybe it's for the best. Maybe, I mean, maybe down the road, give it another 5-10 years, we'll see some other attempt at like a revival or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I know that sounds like
and that's, I mean, again, you are right, where it's just,
I know it sounds like a cope, but I mean,
I know.
it's just but who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens here,
and I really do hope that I am wrong. I hope that maybe this is just currently right now, and maybe next year, the year after, we may see Vicarious Visions, like after Diablo 2 gets its remaster or remake. Vicarious Visions is working on the next, Tony Hawk or whatever. Maybe Toys for Bob, they're doing Warzone, and then, some other, Beanox is going to take over, and Toys for Bob does something else, or maybe we could see something out of the other studios. I guess for me, the reason why this infuriates me and frustrates me is just, it's predictable. It's so predictable that, of course, Activision would just have all of their studios work on the golden goose game, which is Call of Duty. And it's frustrating because it just seems like that's all that comes out from Activision. That's all they care about. Where in the past, yeah, of course they killed Tony Hawk to death, but you had other games coming from Activision that were great. I love the Spider-Man games on the PS1. And they're from Activision, from Neversoft. There's so many different games that in the past Activision worked on, and on top of their golden gooses, the Tony Hawks, the Guitar Heroes, the Call of Duties. But it just seems like now it's just oh, Call of Duty makes us all of the money. Keep working on Call of Duty over and over and over and over again. And I will give Activision props for this. the difference between EA Sports, where it's the golden goose is the EA Sports, Madden, FIFA, whatever games, and you have Activision with Call of Duty. At least with Call of Duty, most years when it changes, or at least they try to change it up, because like you had Advanced Warfare, they went futuristics. A lot of people didn't like that. Not a lot of people like Go, so they went Advanced Warfare. People like Advanced Warfare was better, but people didn't like the futuristic stuff. It was split. And pretty much when they did, I think it was Black Ops 3, they went back with Black Ops. People liked that. Black Ops 4 was too multiplayer, so there wasn't enough there. The Cold War has kind of got its, like, Modern Warfare and Cold War has given Call of Duty another, like, jolt of energy to be like, it's a new Call of Duty again. So I'll give Activision that, where they at least are trying to keep this freaking thing alive. I'm surprised that it has lasted this long. Because not Tony Hawk, not Guitar Hero, those things died. And it was oversaturation to the nth degree. And it feels like this too, but like people love Call of Duty and it's not going to stop. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And I think that the shooter genre, like Battle Royale, like Fortnite is still a shooter. It's still a shooter. People love shooters, and that's just, I don't think Call of Duty is going to go anywhere.
I mean, yeah, people do love shooters in general. I think part of it too is I think it's the what's part of what's it's sort of a there isn't really a conspiracy behind it, but I think it's sort of like a serendipitous type of thing that's really halted innovation. Because I think when it comes down to it, people do in general, you're right, people do in general like shooters. They like your Call of Duties, they like your Fortnites, and developers also like them too. Because think about it, I mean, what's easier to develop, a game with a complex narrative and choice system, or some kind of complex strategy or simulation game, or whatever it is, like, or a new style of game, or just another game where you're shooting everything? It's a developer. It's sort of on both sides. Developers see that these are the games that sell. They tend to be easier to make. They're easy to monetize, and the players eat them up. And that's kind of why we don't have that's why a lot of more experimental and different series are just, you just don't really see those anymore outside of like maybe the indie scene.
Yeah.
There's not really any incentive for people to make them.
Yeah. I guess it sucks. I love Crash Bandicoot. I love Spyro. And it's my childhood. Like, again, those are the games I grew up on, and I guess I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say? I know that it feels like I've been talking much more in this PlayStation conversation.
I think no, I mean, I know it's something you wanted to talk about, and I mean I think it's gonna be a case where maybe we'll see something down the road again. I think I could still hold out some hope that maybe we will see something, some sort of follow up to Tony Hawk. I mean, maybe they're waiting to see how the sales perform for. Because Tony Hawk only just came out last year. Then we got a PS5 version just recently. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm holding out some hope for it. I would love to see a Tony Hawk 3, or even if it takes 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's okay. I would love to see that eventually.
I agree. But yeah, Death of a Bandicoot. God dang it. So I don't know. I'm gonna hold on to that little scrap of hope. Going, okay, somehow, some way, I'll get Crash back. I'll get Spyro back. But Activision has proven me right or wrong, depending on my perspective. Which is that, like, this again, as I said, this doesn't surprise me. It's completely predictable. Of course, they did this. So yeah. But yeah. Any last words?
No, that's all I got for now. I mean, yeah, it's just nothing unusual. It's kind of just Activision, doing what it's always done.
Yeah. So, yeah. So guys, please let us know in the comments what you guys think of just kind of the death of Crash Bandicoot and all death of Crash and Spyro, and that's what it feels like. At least to me, it feels like that it's the death of Crash and Spyro. They're gonna go into the vault and they're just gonna be in the back because they don't make as much money as Call of Duty. So more Call of Duty, please. So yeah, please let us know your opinions, what you guys think of that or anything we have talked about on this episode. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/thebrotherhoodofgeeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your buddies, tell everyone you know, tell everyone you don't know, all that kind of good stuff. Also, you can go ahead and press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know we put up a video. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/thebrotherhoodofgeeks. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd. Dualshock'd, the name of our PlayStation podcast, BOG. Dualshock'd BOG on Twitter. And then you can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/brotherhoodofgeeks. So yeah, that's, man. I guess we will have to see what the future holds for those two franchises. But all I know is that, well, I can go ahead and be happy and go and play more Returnal. That'll be fun.
Or just Returnal it.
No.
I'm going to play Nier. I'm fairly confident I will enjoy it.
Great. Well, I'm glad. And look forward to our reviews of those games along with some of the next games coming out within the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, I think that's it. Anything else, Spectre?
No, that's it for now.
Alrighty then. Well then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
And I'm Spectre.
And as always, live the play together. We'll see you guys next time.